that pre-tinned wire is copper wire covered with a coating of solder, and we're going to make our own here, which is really a lot cheaper. But to make it even cheaper, you can recycle electrical wire by stripping off the plastic coating and then covering it in solder. Wire comes in different gauges, and it's a little bit confusing, but the smaller the gauge, the thicker the wire, which for me is round the wrong way. It's worth having a little tiny look at the wire, because you have to choose the right one for the right application. So say you wanted to do something quite delicate, you could choose like cat's whiskers or something, you could choose number 22. Something a bit thicker like a flower of a stem could be number 12, that would be kind of standard. The one I showed you earlier was number 14, the pre-tinned one, and that's the one I use for hanging small panels. So that gives you some idea of the different widths and what to use them for. Now we've got to strip the plastic casing off. It's important, obviously, for health and safety that you always do this away from you and not towards you. But the trick is to leave the knife in the same position and actually pull the wire towards you. So you put the knife nearly right on the paper, hold it steadily and pull the knife slowly towards you, and that takes off the top layer of the wire, the plastic coating, and you pull it back as far as you can and then continue along the length in a similar fashion. I normally do about 1 metre at a time, which is 3 foot, about 3 foot, because that's a pretty manageable length. And then when you get closer to the end, you can just pull it right off. And you've got your bit of copper wire. Without fail, when you're recycling wire, it always ends up a little bit crumpled and it's quite hard to tin like that. So if you just get a pair of pliers and a very thick cloth or towel, and then just pull it a few times, 2 or 3 times, and it straightens out all the kinks in it. It will still be a bit bent, but that's fine, you can work with that. And then the last thing to do before you start soldering is just to clean it off, with some steel wool, just to make it accept the solder better. Don't forget your mask and your gloves for that, because the little bits of steel wool get everywhere. You're going to have to put flux on the wire. I use a sponge because it covers the wire nicely, but it's the flux that will give it an additional clean, and also it will make it take the solder. So make sure that you cover the whole of the wire, and then there might be some little blobs of solder, they're perfect. And when you first start, pick one of those up and you can move the iron along the wire. That's a little bit easier to get the hang of it. When you get a little bit better, you can do essentially what we did with the craft knife when you were taking the casing away. You can move the wire. See how the tip is actually staying in the same position, and I'm actually moving the wire instead. Turn it round, and those little bits of solder that hang over the edge, you can pick those up and use those, and any roughness, I'll show you what to do with that in a minute, so don't worry about that at this stage. Just make sure you cover the whole of the wire. And so when it's all covered, that's pretty much it. You've created your own tinned wire, which is exactly the same as the very expensive stuff that you can buy in shops. There is one last thing to do, and that's, you'll feel that it's a little tiny bit rough, so you just have to get that steel wool out again. Don't hold it too tight, because actually you can remove the solder and end up with copper wire again if you're too vicious with it. Just gently rub it all away, and then you've got your lovely tinned wire and you can be proud of yourself.